Hey, this episode is sponsored by restaurant Rööm, so if you're a local or visiting Pärnu, you should come by and enjoy some good food. So yeah, bye. Hey, you're watching Kelder Records podcast, and today we have an interesting new guest from England. His name is
MC Creed.
What's your real name, if I may ask?
Oh, my real name's Chris.
Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
So at first, maybe I would like to start with your origins. When did you first get into garage music?
When did I first get into garage music? Well, I was a fan of acid house music in 1988, 1989. And acid house in the UK was massive. It was like a big scene. And there were millions of young people going out every week listening to house music. This was like the first introduction to house music that the UK had, really. Before that, it was just what's on BBC, what's on the like, it's just very commercial music. That's the only thing you'd hear on the radio. And, you know, you heard soul and reggae, but no house. And when the acid house scene came, I was into that. So I was going out to clubs and to these illegal raves. They were raves in fields and in aircraft hangars and anywhere, but there were thousands of people there. So that kind of introduced me to house. And I started to go to clubs that were playing this music. And then Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister at the time, she was really worried about this scene because there was a lot of drugs on that scene. It was in the papers and stuff, and like it was looked at really badly. So she made a law that banned all outside gatherings. So these raves were always outside. So when she banned this, acid house raves went into clubs. They had to go into clubs now. And when they went into clubs, they split up into different scenes. So they were all under one tent. They were all under one roof, I would say, before this law. But afterwards, say, that was the beginning of the jungle scene. Mm-hmm. So it split, and there was jungle and hardcore was there. There was soulful house and garage, and then there was techno and trance. Mm-hmm. And these scenes, they all got like created in about, it must have been 1990 to 1991. And even though I went to some of the hardcore drum and bass clubs, I really liked the soulful house and garage clubs. Mm. So that must have been 1990. And yeah, I was going to these clubs, and then I found that I had a voice. I found I had a voice just through writing lyrics and stuff. So I was going out to these clubs, and then I must have been rapping in someone's ears, you know, as you do when you're in a club or saying, and the music's playing. And this guy said, "Oh man, I'm having an event. Would you like to come and do my event?" So I went, "Oh, right." And I'd never done it before. So that was my first introduction to house and garage music.
Do you remember the first time that you were on stage? Do you remember how it felt like?
Yeah. Well, the first time, it was this guy's rave. His name was Lenny D, and he used to do a party called Unit 4 raves in London. And the club was called The Brain, and it was in Wardour Street. And all I remember was there was a band playing, and their name was Purple, and they were supporting Enjoy and 808 State. Like they were doing a concert at Wembley, and this band was supporting them, and they were playing, and they were playing like electronic music, and I was kind of hiding behind the DJ box, rapping. I was rapping over the top of the music, but I was kind of too shy. I was kind of hiding. I was hiding and doing it. So a lot of people, they didn't realize that there was an MC there. They thought that it was the record. They didn't know there was an MC. So when someone said, "Oh, we thought it was the record," to me, that's the biggest compliment that you can have. Like, "Oh, wow. So I sounded okay then. If I sounded like the record, I must have sounded all right." So yeah, but I was very shy then. I was very shy.
Did you know, when did you know music was for, sorry, when did you know that music was for you?
Okay,
did it connect to when you were doing live things, or maybe it was previously?
Well, the thing is, I started writing lyrics because I had to go to Canada. I was in Canada for about a year. And while I was there, I was bored, and I was watching, at the time, MTV. They had a new show, and it was called Yo MTV Raps. Yeah, so you'd watch this, and you could see all the hip hop bands and stuff. But it was very new, and rap was kind of, I wouldn't say new, but Yo MTV Raps on TV was quite new. So I was like watching that, and it gave me a bit of inspiration because I was just bored, and I just started writing like raps for fun. And by the time I left there a year later, by the time I left Canada, I probably had about 15 raps that I'd written. And hence, when I came back and these parties were going on, I started rapping in people's ears, like, whenever. And someone said, "Come on the mic for me." So I suppose it wasn't even then that I thought to myself, this is the job for me. I just thought, this is fun. Let me do it. But I mean, I did a PA for a promotion called Labyrinth, and Labyrinth, they were kind of a happy hardcore type promotion. It was Joe, Phil, and Sue who were running it at the time, and that PA went really well, and I had a lot of interaction with the crowd, and the crowd really kind of loved it. So I think it was kind of then that made me think, yeah, maybe like I could do something here. Maybe like I could do it.
Do you remember your first recording?
My first recording? Okay. Well, you know what? The first time I went to the studio, I messed it up anyway because I didn't really have like a good idea how to like write songs. Yeah, I'm thinking I've got lyrics. I'll come in and I'll just spit my lyrics, and then you can use them. But like it didn't work out like that. And the producer that I went in there with didn't even use what I put down because I didn't have an understanding. But later on, I learned about the composition of a song and what is needed in a song. Like you need an intro, you need verses, you need a chorus, you need a bridge, you need like hooks, all this stuff I didn't really know about. So the first time I went there, it didn't work. But the first recording I did was with the legendary Dominic Spread Love and a guy called Tank. And it's a track called Ego Zero, and it's a track called One Nation. And we did that in 1993. That was 1993. That was my first recording.
Sure. I mean, your career has been really long and really fruitful. And I mean, you've been described as a garage legend and an innovator. Do you accept those labels or not?
Well, look, to me, it's very, I'm very grateful that people will speak about me with respect. I'm very grateful for that. I think they do it because to everybody who is a part of the garage scene, I suppose when they came into garage, I was there. Because I'm lucky enough to have been one of the people who started, you know, the movement. So to me, it wasn't a planned thing. It was just being in the right place at the right time and doing the right things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, actually, I was at the event in Pärnu. You had a live here. I really enjoyed filming you.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, compared to other artists that we have, especially here in Pärnu, they're not moving around as much, or they are not communicating with the crowd or creating like a connection with the crowd. But it comes naturally to you.
Oh.
So I really enjoyed it. I loved it when you jumped into the crowd and talked to everyone. So it's a really nice vibe. The only thing that I'm sorry about is that there weren't enough people here.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes, you know, it's the wrong time. The timing's wrong or whatever. But me, I just believe if there are 10 people, if there are 100 people, if there are 1,000 people, you still perform the same way.
Sure.
That's what we should do. Everybody should everybody should be able to have a good time, no matter how many people are there. Like back in the day, there were some parties that there weren't a lot of people there, but we were still having a good time. So we have to do this.
Sure. I mean, the good time is like the essence of it anyway.
Yeah. That's why they're here.
Sure. I mean, your live performances are great as far as I have seen. So how have they like changed over the years? How have you like honed them or practiced them?
Okay, you know what? Obviously, at this point, I've probably done 3,500 performances at this point. So it's probably just practice. It's muscle memory at this point. But, you know, when you first go out there, you have to learn. So, you know, practice makes perfect. The more you do something, the better you get at it or the more relaxed you are. So I think it's important to be relaxed and not to worry about things. Just be relaxed. Enjoy yourself. If you enjoy yourself, people see you enjoying yourself, they're more likely to enjoy themselves. So,
sure.
So my thing is I have to have fun. If I have fun, maybe I can transfer that to you.
Yeah, that's a good mindset. I love it. The Estonian crowds are notoriously difficult. So usually performers who come here, they always have the criticism that Estonian crowds are so difficult. So in your career, what has been the most difficult crowd that you've ever faced?
Ooh, difficult crowd. You know what?
Has there like been moments where?
Oh, I'll tell you. Yeah, the most difficult crowd, I think, in 2000. In 2000, I did a tour. Me and Dominic Spread Love, and there's a friend of ours called Alan Miller. He's actually he's an activist nowadays. He's into politics and he's a founding member of the NTIA, which is a nightclub association in the UK that you know, strives to fight for clubs, to fight for like club owners and people who work in clubs and stuff. And we did a tour in South Africa. So we did Johannesburg, we did Durban, and we did Cape Town. And we had a big stage for the Cape Town gig, and we were expecting a lot of people to come from the townships, and they did come from the townships. It was like a line of people walking all the way from the townships to our stage, which was great. And we started playing garage to like you know, South African people from the townships, and even though they liked the beat, it was probably a little bit too fast for them. At the time, they had a music called Kwaito, it was called. The music was called Quato, and on like one of the radio stations, they were playing a tune, and this tune was actually a slowed down garage tune that they were playing. So their music, they were kind of playing house and garage, but slower, and like that was probably the hardest crowd that we had to work, because they were kind of trying to work it out. They were trying to work it out.
Sure, but in those difficult moments, how do you put yourself out of it so that you don't go with like the awkward energy or the negative energy? Like, how do you keep your cool?
You know what? You've got to try and communicate with the people. That's the best way. Like, if the music isn't kind of doing it at that time, then you have to communicate with them, speak to them, and you know, and just get some interaction. That is what I did, and that worked. Yeah, I got some interaction with the crowd, and we managed to turn them around, and they started, like, you know, enjoying themselves and having a good time. But it was really hard for about the first 15 minutes of that set.
Oh man, I cannot imagine myself in that situation. I mean, how has your relationship to performing changed over the years? Do you still love it as much as you used to?
Oh yeah, I love it. Like, it's just, it's a part of me. It's like something that I've been doing. I've been doing it now for 34 years. So it's it becomes, you can actually become the person. Like, when I'm at home, I'm Chris. When I'm on stage, I'm Creed. But but sometimes I'm Creed when I'm walking around as well. So
I mean, that dichotomy is really interesting, because a lot of artists, I think, face that, because at one point you're Kendrick Lamar the artist, and at one point you're Kendrick the father. So I mean, I don't really know how people like manage those two personalities.
Yeah. Well, with me, the way that I do it, because I work as well. Yeah, I don't, like, for years, from 1990 till 2003, all I did was this. All I did was, I was just Creed, yeah. But then in about 2004, I started to do youth work. So I work with kids, like, during the day. I mean, I work in a school for people who don't speak English, and we try and get them in college. And then in the evenings, I work in a youth center, and I also do mentoring, where I do music workshops and that stuff. And so I've been doing that for about 20 years now. And because I do that, that keeps me, it keeps me on a level, because to them, I'm just Chris. I don't even, you know, the kids that I work with, I don't tell them that I'm Creed. I don't tell them that. They just know me as Chris, and I just work the same as the other youth workers. The only time I ever tell a kid that I do music is if they have an interest in music. If they have an interest in music and I see that, and they're trying to do something to do with music, then I'll tell them that I do music as well, and then maybe like I can help. So that's it.
So 20 years of youth work. During that time, have you come across any like great talents?
Yeah. There's a guy called Jelani that I did a music workshop with, and he ended up working with what's the guy's mate? Rich 33. That's right. He's ended up working with him, and you know, they've done a few tracks together, and that's good. I've worked with MCRB. He done great things in garage as well. Like, I've worked with who else was there? There was Vapor, MC Vapor. He was sending me CDs and that, and he's like a big artist now. He tours and he does stuff. So yeah.
So youth work is kind of like your day job? Youth work is kind of like your day job?
Yeah. Like I've got, I mean, like I kind of do three other jobs. I do mentoring and I do youth work. The youth work is kind of after my day job. The day job that I do is kind of in a school, but the school in the UK, it's like an alternative provision. And it's like when kids come into the country and they're a certain age, they can't go to mainstream school. They can't go to normal school because they don't have enough English and they don't have a special teacher to translate in a normal school. So they create another school. So all these kids from other countries, they all go to this school and then we teach them English and maths and stuff and we get them in college. So yeah, I do that during the day.
Okay, that must take a lot out of you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it does. But you know what? I'm happy to do it. I feel it makes me feel good. You know, like sometimes you need to do other things because if music is the only thing you do, you know, you can end up thinking a certain way, and I don't want to think like that. I want to be down to earth. I can speak to anyone. Anyone can come up to me, and they can speak to me, and I'll speak to them the same way that I speak to anyone else. Like there's no favoritism. I think that a lot of people that do normal jobs are more talented at doing their job than we are as artists sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
everybody has a different talent. Yeah,
sure.
Everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's great that you're so open-minded, and your work with the youth and the schools. I mean, that takes a lot of courage and responsibility and love and understanding, especially if they're like they maybe come from difficult backgrounds as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you got a lot to be proud of. So many people can't do what you do.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Like the thing is, it suits me. Listen, it doesn't suit everyone, and I'm not telling everybody to try and do it. But you know what? I do. I work for the council. But you know, like if you've got kids around you, anybody can mentor a child. You don't have to do it professionally. You can just kind of be there and be a constant in a child's life and give them support. You don't have. It doesn't have to be a job. Like if everybody just kind of, this mic keeps moving, but it's me, my fault. If everybody just kind of looks after one child each, then we're good, mate. Like the whole world is good.
I agree. Can I ask you about your upbringing?
Yeah.
Were you an only child, or did you?
Oh no, I've got I'm like one of five. I'm one of five. I'm like the middle child. Middle child. I was in the mid, two older, two younger, and like my parents originally from Jamaica, and my grandparents and parents came over from Jamaica in the 50s. So, but me, I was born in the UK, and yeah. So, and I come from like, you know, my family is like a big family. So there was five of us kids, but we were in a big house, and there was a lot of us in the house. Some uncles and aunties and all that until they moved out and got their own house. But yeah, I've always been in a big family.
Okay, that must have been a struggle for you growing up.
Oh yeah, of course, because in the 60s, you know, me, I grew up. I was born in the 60s, but I grew up in the 70s, and the 70s in England was very different from what it is now. And you know, there were struggles, but you know what? You ask anyone, and they will tell you that they've had a struggle, whether it's physical, whether it's money, whether it's mental, whether it's, you know, abuse. Most people have had a hardship in their life. So I don't concentrate on that. To me, my childhood was great. I had a great childhood, because we had fun. But yeah, there were definitely struggles, 100%. But once they're over, they're over. We go on.
Sure. That's a good mindset. I gotta ask you, has this influenced your youth work as well? Do you
Definitely
gave you more empathy?
Okay, well, the thing is, when I was young, when I was say a teenager, in my area, there were a lot of guys who used to fight. There's a lot of guys who used to fight in my era. So you growing up, you look up to them guys. They're like, oh, these guys are, they're big men. So, and then when I reached a certain age, I wanted to copy them. So I used to fight a lot when I was kind of a teenager, and I used to have a lot of friends. So there might have been 50 of us who were friends, and we used to kind of fight a lot. I don't know if we were bored or something. I don't know, but we did. So after that, when I became like a father and I became a big man, I've got 3 kids. When I became a big man and I saw kids on the street and they're doing stuff, it was like, I understood. I kind of understood why they're doing it. Most people saying, why are these kids doing this? I can't believe this is terrible. But I understood why, right? They're all trying to find their place in the world. They're trying to get a reputation because they want to be, they want respect in their area, but also they don't want to be bullied. They don't want to be bullied by other people and stuff. So having a reputation that stops people from coming for you because they think, nah, this guy's a bit hard, this guy's a bit naughty, we'll leave him alone. So a lot of kids have got, a paranoia in their head that they're gonna get hurt or attacked. So, they form packs to look after each other. They form packs. It helps them survive. So,
sure. I think it's similar in that way all across the world.
Yeah, it is.
It sounds like Pärnu. I don't want to give our city a bad reputation, but we used to be called the beating capital of Estonia.
Yeah.
I mean, things have changed. But yeah, that used to be the case. We're also the summer capital of Estonia, so good with the bad.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, a lot of the time, kids are growing up in a town that isn't a big city, because the town that I grew up in is kind of in Essex, but I was born in Hackney, which is in East London, but my family moved out and they moved to Essex, which is kind of like, being born in Tallinn and then moving out to Pärnu. Yeah. It's kind of a similar thing. And if you grow up in these towns, there isn't that much to do. All there is to do is drink and go down a pub, have fun with your friends, and kids are bored. So fighting is very exciting. Fighting's exciting for kids, isn't it? So.
Correct. But thank God we have MMA.
Any now, exactly. Get them in the ring, get them down the gym, and they can do it there.
Sure, and they will learn this discipline, respect, and other valuable life lessons.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I agree. Totally.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, how has fatherhood influenced your creativity, your music, your performances? Has there been any influences?
Oh, okay. Well, look. So, how was it influenced me? Well, you know what? I became a father very early into my career because I started MCing in, say, 1991, and I became a father in 1993. So I've kind of been a dad throughout my whole career, really. How has it influenced me? Well, my kids have been a part of it because you know, I brought my little kids like when they were young, they were probably 4 or 5, and I brought them to Napa, which is in Cyprus, and that was the holiday home of UK garage. So I brought them there for a holiday when they were really young, them and their mum, and you know, the Garage Awards, because me, Jason K, the late Jason K, R.I.P., and Norris the Boss Windross, we were the promoters of the UK Garage Awards in 2000 and 2001. And I brought my kids there as well. They were like 6 and 7, and they were there. So they've kind of been involved in it, and they're garage heads now. They love garage, so yeah.
I mean, that's nice. I mean, personally, I'm not that familiar with garage music. I mean, in Estonia, we mostly consume media from America.
Yeah.
I mean, in England too, but mostly America. So I delved into garage music. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the music. I enjoyed the click as well.
Oh.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? We did a record. DJ Pied Piper, do you really like it? Well, him and his brother is known as Unknown MC, but Pied Piper and his brother, they used to be in a rap group called Hijack, and Hijack were a big UK rap group, yeah? No one really knows, yeah? But them two were like founder members of Hijack, and then they came over to Garage. Pied Piper was a DJ in Garage, and his brother was still doing the hip hop thing. But then he came to some of our parties, and then he spoke with us about coming together and doing a tune. And we did a tune. They like produced a tune, Pied Piper and Unknown. And Unknown's other name is Comanche Sly, and he's known as Comanche Sly from Hijack. Anyway, they used a tune called Good Rhymes, which was by Chic, and they also used Rapper's Delight, and they kind of mixed them two tunes, and they put like a garage beat on it and produced it. And then like me, a big MC at the time was PSG, and like we got a singer, Valerie. We came together and done this track, and and the track it went to #1 in the garage charts like for weeks and weeks, and then like it went in the national charts, and I think it peaked at number 14. But at that time, garage didn't have many hits in the charts, so like we did Top of the Pops and that, and we toured and done all that stuff. So. And we did a follow-up as well, We Are The Click, where we used Tom Brown's Funkin' for Jamaica. We used that and remixed that. That didn't do so well, but still, you know, they were good. Like it charted, but I think it charted at about number 32 or something, but still.
What were your guys' vibes and emotions like when it hit number 14?
Okay, yeah, well, you know what? To me, it weren't even the numbers. The number didn't really matter to me. To me, it was being on Top of the Pops, because I kind of grew up watching that as a kid, and all the big acts that I used to watch were on that. So to me, being an older guy and going on Top of the Pops was great. I think at the time I was probably about 30 at the time. But yeah, that was the biggest thing for me.
Even I know Top of the Pops. So I used to love English punk rock and English rock, like the Smiths and Morrissey.
Okay, not the hard punk.
Hard punk as well.
Yeah,
like Magazine and people like that.
Okay.
I mean, Sex Pistols, of course, and Joy Division is one of my favorite bands.
Okay. You see, Joy Division, they were making like house because they're well known for being like, you know, they're part of that whole Manchester movement, but they were kind of on the fringes of house music as well.
Yeah. I remember a lot of my youth. I was like reading about the Smiths biographies and about Joy Division and everything. So I'm fairly familiar with like the English geography and some of the bands, but not so much currently. So the Top of the Pops, like, I mean, you probably dreamed about it in some way before, or like wanted to go there in some way.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, at that time, I just kind of knew, like, it was all organic. Like everything was just kind of happening. At that time, garage was so big. It was like it was probably the biggest scene in the UK. I mean, underground music scene. When it comes to music in clubs, there was no bigger scene than garage in, like, at the end of 99, say, at that time when we went on Top of the Pop. So it was it was amazing, but there were so many other amazing things happening at that time, you know, like we were doing Napa. I mean, we were flying backwards and forwards to Napa probably 30 times a season. So, like, I'm in Napa for a day, then I'm back in England because I've got bookings in England, back in Napa, back in England, and back over there in Greece, then there. So we were flying anyway. We were flying, and so it was just one thing after another. We were doing like a few like compilation albums and stuff, and like there was a lot of stuff going on. Different people were coming into the scene. The scene was kind of blowing up. So yeah, it was a crazy time.
Do you look back at your career and think, God damn, I did so many things?
Well, I do, and the thing is, like I'm actually still doing them as well.
Of course.
Not to the frequency of, you know, how garage was in the heyday. A more relaxed kind of frequency now. But I'm just happy and I'm kind of grateful that I can still be doing it. I can still be doing stuff. And I'm meeting people like yourselves. Like, you know, if I didn't do music, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be like on this podcast. So I'm kind of grateful that life is still giving me the opportunities to do this.
I completely understand you. I mean, in my youth, I was very introverted and very depressed. And I took a lot of therapy and a lot of like self-reflection to get out of it.
Yeah.
So like 5 years ago, I wouldn't like want to speak to people even, but now I'm here doing a podcast.
Look at you now.
Yeah,
it's amazing, bro.
Yeah, I've been like working hard, so I'm very glad that as well that I took on this podcast so I can meet you.
Well done, my brother.
I mean, life is beautiful if you like accept it and you work on it and you.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, and you also do workshops.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went to one of yours. So how did they start?
Okay. I had an agency in 1997. I started an agency in London called Vocal Fusion, and this agency was an agency that I set up to professionalize MCs, because at the time there was a lot of MCs had come over from the jungle scene. They came to garage. Some were great, excellent MCs, brilliant, and some not so much so. But there was, at that time, everybody wanted to be a DJ or an MC at that time. So there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk that I was hearing, you know, like, you know, all these MCs, you can't trust them to turn up to the booking. They're going to talk rubbish and blah, blah, blah. So I started up an agency, and like I got 90% of the top MCs on my agency. And at that time, there was Charlie Brown, it was like PSG, DT, MC Neat was on there at the start. There was just like a who's who. It was like a who's who of MCs. But I also had DJs, and I had singers, and I had bongo players, and I had all sorts on there. And my aim was to professionalize the MCs, and like some of them actually took the classes. Some of these MCs. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, and when I started promoting the fact that I was doing an MC workshop, I got loads of people coming and signing up for it. And I was like, some of them were kids, some of them were MCs who were trying to come up. And so that was my first foray into doing a music workshop. And I was running Vocal Fusion. I had the office in Brick Lane, the Truman Brewery, up until 2007. So when I started doing youth work, I brought that into the youth work, because there were a lot of kids at the time who were into grime. They were getting into grime around 2004, 2005. And I did a tune with Skepta in 2005 called Duppy. And, you know, since I did that, a lot of kids came as well for workshops. So.
I mean, the Skepta track is really nice. I like Skepta as well.
Yeah, he's bad.
Yeah, but how have the workshops progressed over the years? I mean, are there more people coming? Even
okay, well, look, in like in 2007, I gave up, you know, the agency. I like stopped doing it. So then, yeah, I stopped doing the workshops like myself, but I brought them over into my youth work. And then, you know, it isn't like a regular thing that I do it in the youth work. It's like every now and again, when the council have got, like, you know, a surplus of money, they'll say, listen, we need you to do this. We need you to get this artist and that artist and bring them here to help with a workshop. So yeah, so it doesn't happen that often anymore. Apart from, you know, if someone really kind of asks for it. I'm not running them myself anymore. But if someone asks for it, then I'll do it.
Yeah. Yesterday I was at your workshop, and I thought that you had like really great ideas how to structure it. I mean, for those guys, I understand it was one of like the first ones.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not going to be perfect anyway. Like none of us are going to be perfect
Of
at
course.
first time. But yeah, I think your like experience really shows.
Oh, thank you.
And I really loved the cypher part as well.
Oh, great. That was fun.
Yeah. And I asked Lala HF, who was here previously, and maybe I can ask it from you too. Can you imagine your life without music?
No. The thing is, what I think is that it's a love of music that creates an artist. People are not just born an artist, I don't think. I think this love, this connection with music and how music makes you feel, you love it so much that you do it, if you know what I'm saying. You love music so much. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to love to dance, like dancing was my thing. So I had no aspirations to become an MC, none at all when I was growing up. I mean, I became an MC when I was probably about 23. I was probably 22, 23. But before that, I had no idea that I was going to be an artist. I was going to parties and I would dance all night and dance all day, go out Thursday, come home on a Tuesday every week, right, and go to clubs, houses, bars, like, around the circuit. That was it. I loved it so much.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. What advice would you give to your younger self?
My younger self.
Maybe at the start of your career.
What advice would I give my younger self? Now the thing is, what I've done a few times in my life, I've not done something out of loyalty to someone else. Yeah, I've not done something in business, music business, out of loyalty to someone else. But now, looking back, what I'd say is, instead of looking at like other people, do like what is best for business. Because if you're in the music business, right, it's a business. Yeah, you have to look at it as a business and do what is best for your business. You as an entity, because that's why you're here. Yeah, and people forget. They forget what you do. Like they forget loyalty sometimes. They forget what you've done. So yeah, just concentrate on doing you and do what is best for your business and what you're doing.
Do you think most artists fail at that part, the business part?
Oh, definitely. Because, like, where'd you learn? Where'd you learn this? Like, how'd you learn? Most people learn because they get swindled. Most people get swindled, and like that is how they learn. And there's a kind of there's a thing in music that this person gets swindled from a label will swindle this person, and then this person starts a label, signs that person and kind of swindles them. It just goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. This is a thing in the business. So that's one thing that I've never done. I've never like swindled anyone. Like I'd rather not even do something if I have to take something that I think someone else deserves, I'd rather not do it. So yeah, so that's what I'd say to somebody coming up, and yeah, learn the business.
Do you think there's an opportunity to build a course or a university in some sort of way?
Yeah, well the thing is, it's different now. Now there are courses that you can learn everything. We have the internet now as well, so you can just go online. You can learn everything you need to learn about music, about contracts, about rights, about who owns what. What I'd say is, if you can as an artist, try and do as much as you can for yourself. That means like book the studio yourself. Like when you record that's yours because you've paid for the studio. If someone else pays for the studio, it's theirs. You understand? So try and pay for as much of it yourself.
I agree. I think we are nearing about an hour right now. So I think we gotta wrap it up. And
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So maybe my last question would be: is there anything you would like to ask me, or like, or maybe there's something you haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
Okay, let's see. Yeah, because right now we are in Panu, yeah. Panu. So, what is the club scene like in Panu? Or is there a club scene in Panu?
I mean, there is a club scene.
You have a nice club, because that club that we were in last night was a really lovely club.
Sure. It's a difficult question to answer in a way. It has changed a lot over the years. Usually it's people like come and listen to music, not a lot of artists, not a lot of like new talent or something like that. It's just like for Pärnu, most of it is like a bar, like a
Okay,
more like
yeah.
a bar, you know. Sometimes we get a lot of interesting artists, but usually not, especially during the winter times, because winter times are the off season. In summer, yeah, things happen. There used to be a vegan festival. Post Malone came here, Suicide Boys, a lot of big artists, but it's not held anymore. But yeah, there are like Wunderbar. It's a new place in Pärnu. There are hip hop events there, and locals perform there. So in some way we are getting a scene,
Yeah.
and in some way we're not. So it like depends who like runs the events, and sort of that way.
Oh, okay.
Nothing too concrete, but things move. So yeah.
It's like the infrastructure is here to do events, like even if it's a bar thing. Because the thing is, in England, there's a lot of events that happen in wine bars as well. It's not just big clubs; they happen in wine bars too, in London and stuff. Mate, they even have events in like pizza in Pizza Express now. Like big artists are doing performances in there. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, that is what I wanted to kind of see. Like, is there a scene here, or is it just kind of one-off events that are going on?
Sort of both. But yeah, things are slowly building up again.
Okay.
So as the economy gets better, hopefully it gets better. I mean, there will be better events, and so on.
Well,
And so
I'll
forth.
tell you what, I would say you should come to Pärnu. Yeah, if you're watching this podcast, you should come to Pärnu. It is a really beautiful place, and it's chill.
Have you enjoyed your time in Estonia?
Yes, definitely. Short and sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll let you go, and
Thank you
I will
very
let you
much.
enjoy your day, and hopefully one day we'll meet again. And if
Definitely,
not,
my friend.
good luck.
It's been a pleasure. Very good.